Morning, A group. Welcome to biology. This is crooked. Whoop, there it is. Today, A group is here. We are starting chapter 2, so please follow along in your binders for chapter 2. If you can't see the screen or can't tell what I'm writing, make sure that you look at the PowerPoint that's attached in the stream. Also, those of you who are in class today, I'm not going to wait for you to fill in the notes, just because next Wednesday, your assignment is to fill in the notes. So that is going to be your online assignment. You can either try to do it now with me, same with you B group, or you can wait until Wednesday and then I will be checking it on Thursday. A couple of things, B group, I did grade most of your tests. I think I still have to do 6 periods, so they are in MMS. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. I've been getting some emails about what's my grade. Your grades are in MMS. They are kept up to date because it's such insanity with like A group and B group. That day, your grade is to date. So check it in MMS. If you're not able to access your MMS, anybody in here having problems getting on your MMS? Okay, you have to log into a school computer. Okay, so you have to go to one of the computer labs or one of the computer carts and log in because it's going to make you change your password. So go to whatever, Learning Commons, wherever you're at, log into one of the school's computers. It'll automatically, the password's Rockets 19. It will make you then change your password. And once you change your password, that's the password that you'll use to access MMS. Okay, so make sure that you do that. I'm getting notifications on my phone. I forgot to send it to silent. Hopefully nobody calls. There it is. Okay. Any questions about your grades? If you look in the Google Classroom stream, you will see everything that we have going on for the next 2 weeks for these chapters. Oh, I can't get to it right now. Well, maybe. Hang on. I'm going over here. It's a little easier to access from here. So when you look at the Google stream for this class, I'm just going to pull up A groups. Here, you will see I already have your assignment posted. No, I don't. I'm getting ready to post your assignment for tomorrow. No, I'm not, because it'll be the video. Okay, you will see that everything is up here for chapter 2 already. So you have a PowerPoint. There's a study guide if you wanted to start studying for your test. Chapter 1 test was easy. You did well on it, even probably if you didn't study very much. Those grades are in MMS. I can't tell you right now because we're on camera. But I can tell you after class if you want to know how you did on that test. Chapter 2 gets harder. It is some of it a review from Mrs. Cox's class. You're going to need to study more. Chapter 3, it gets the new stuff that you've never learned before. If you are not taking your book home every night, or your binder, watching the videos, and paying attention in class, you are going to fail that chapter. It's not uncommon for most people to fail that chapter because it's new and you don't know how to study yet. I was talking to Mr. Robinson yesterday, and I was talking about the keystones, and I'm like, oh, I hope we don't get them. They, at the federal level, Betsy DeVos said that she is not signing the okay for the states to get rid of standardized testing this year, so you guys will be taking your keystones. So even though we are here like every other day and you're doing this online, it is still your responsibility to be learning this stuff. Because we can barely get through it in a whole school year, it is super important that you are watching the videos so that you understand where we're at. If you're not understanding chapter 3, you're going to be lost for the rest of the year. So please make sure that you are actually watching the videos. Okay, everything is here for chapter 2. Going through the chapter, we are looking at our next test in here on the 21st and the 22nd, A group 21st, B group 22nd of September. That's 2 weeks from, I have no idea what day it is. 2 Mondays and Tuesday. That's when it's coming up. You'll also notice that next Friday or Thursday, so your class, Group A is Thursday, Group B class is Friday, we have our first vocabulary quiz. So in your binders, you have that vocabulary section. And it says, actually, wait, I can click right here. The internet is awesome. Here, it looks like this. You will come into class on Thursday morning, and I will say, number 1, what does co mean? And you will write down together. Okay, it's a blank sheet of paper. There's no study guide. There is nothing. Blank sheet of paper. I say co, you write down together. Then I'll say 2, what does valent mean? And you will write down strength. Okay, that is next Thursday for A group. Any questions on what happened? On any of the stuff that we have coming up? Okay, everything is here. Yes, your classwork is under classwork. The stream has all of the other stuff. Wait, wrong direction. There we go. Let's start talking about chemistry. Why do we talk about chemistry and biology? I heard a little bit of, what is chemistry? Isn't that what Georgie coaches or teaches? Why do you need to know chemistry?
It's important.
Why? Why is it important? Because it's a tested subject? Basically, yes. Yeah. Basically, yeah, that's it. You do, what are you made of? Water? What is water? What's water made out of?
Atoms.
Atoms, right? So everything that you're made of. And that's where we're going to spend most of our time looking at the cellular level and the molecular level of you. So the stuff that makes you, you. We spend most of our year talking about genetics. Okay, so in your notes, where's my mouse? There it is. Matter. There's a difference between matter and mass. So matter is anything that occupies space and takes up mass. Mass is the quantity of matter that an object has. Okay, again, I'm not going to wait for a super long time for you to fill these in because you can fill them in from the PowerPoint. Weight is how much gravity is acting on that mass. Does your mass change if you go to the moon? No, your mass does not change if you go to the moon. Does your weight change if you go to the moon?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Why?
I don't know.
I don't know. Why? What?
It's as far as I gotcha.
Oh. What's different on the moon?
Gravity.
Gravity. There you go. I was going to get rid of it so you listened. Gravity is different. So when you go into space and there's less gravity, or no gravity, and you go onto the moon and there's less gravity, now there's less gravity weighing down on your mass, and so it's going to change your weight. Mass is how many atoms you have. Weight is the force of gravity on those atoms. Mass does not change. Weight does change. Elements, atoms that are substances that are composed of one type of atom. I used to have a periodic table that was hanging up, but then we painted, and I took it down, and I didn't hang it up yet because nothing seems to be sticking very well. Anyway, the periodic table, here it is. They're the elements. They're the things that you find in nature. You are made up of 4 elements. Well, you're made up of a lot of elements, but what are the 4 elements that make up most of you? Oxygen?
H2O.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that. H2O is not an element. It is not an atom. It is a what?
Substance.
Molecule, because it's made up of more than one atom. So it's oxygen, and what's the H stand for in H2O? Hydrogen. Good. So oxygen, hydrogen. I don't remember the order they're in, so I'm just waiting. What are the other 2?
I'm not even
Nobody? Nobody? You got it right. You got 2 of them. You just combined them together instead of separating them. You're close. Oxygen, carbon. Have you ever heard of that carbon-based life? Ever? Okay. You were based in carbon. Every single, well, not every single. Most of you is carbon and hydrogen and nitrogen. Those are also the things you find in the atmosphere as well, huh? How do they get back up into the atmosphere? Gases, right. So we die, our bodies decompose, fungus and bacteria break down our bodies, and then they go back into the environment. That would be like the nitrogen cycle, the carbon cycle, phosphorus cycle, water cycle. We'll hit those later in the year as a review from what you learned in Mrs. Cox's class. You're not made up of just those elements. You have other things that are in you as well. At this time, normally I would have you open your books, but I told you not to bring your textbooks. But can you think of any other things that you have in your body? Any other elements that you need?
Isn't there iron or something?
Iron. You need iron. Does anybody know why you need iron? We say you're pumping iron, but it's not actually for your muscles. You need iron. It helps carry oxygen in your blood. And so a lot of times, especially females and especially teenage females who have just recently started menstruating, it is common for them to be low in iron, especially during that time of the month for them. So they may find that they're a little bit more tired, and sometimes they have so little iron, so they're carrying such less oxygen, then that we say that they're anemic. Sometimes that happens. It's pretty common in girls, especially younger girls. What's that thing? You go to the dentist and they like put that tray with that stuff in your mouth. What is that stuff called? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Fluoride.
Fluoride, right? So fluoride is from the element fluorine, but we oxidize it, we put oxygen with it. So it's fluorine. You do need that in small quantities. It helps make your teeth hard. That's why they do that. It just gives some strength to your teeth. They put it in water. Contrary to like conspiracy theorists, it is not used to subdue the population. I've heard that. Back in my day, because I'm old, I lived out in the country and we had spring water. And so my dentist gave me these little tablets, these little red tablets that I was supposed to take every day. And it was fluoride tablets. Has anybody ever had those? No, okay, I think they stopped because they were giving too much fluoride. And then if you look at my teeth, I have like white spots on my teeth because I had so much fluoride as a kid. Too much fluoride can kill you. I don't know, like trying to eat like a tube of toothpaste, you're not gonna die because you have so much fluoride. It's gonna make you throw up before you were to die, but too much fluoride or fluorine can be harmful for you. Let's see. There's another one. There's one, it's called iodine. Anybody ever heard of iodine? Yes? Again, back in the day, I can remember being in elementary school and getting like a cut on the playground, and you would go to the nurse and she would put this like reddish orangish stuff on you, and it was iodine, and it was used to clean your wound. It was awful and it stunk and it kind of burned. We don't do that anymore, but where else do you see things that are with iodine? Or we say it's iodized. What is iodized that you eat?
Salt.
Salt is iodized. So as we look at the history of humans tended to live before we settled. So before the agricultural revolution and we started to settle down and have livestock and start to grow plants and live and stay in one certain area, humans were nomadic. So we would follow wherever we could find food. So we would travel seasonally to find food. Generally, whenever the humans were traveling, humans would travel near water so that they had water, and there's like fish in water and other animals that you can eat in the water. And in those animals, they have a lot of iodine. Our bodies are used to having that amount of iodine. If we don't have the iodine that we need, then your thyroid glands, which are here, don't properly function. I feel like I just said the wrong gland. Can't remember offhand, but I think it's thyroid. Anyway, they sometimes start to grow. And they start to grow what is called a goiter. And so you have these like giant growths like coming out of people's necks. We don't see it super often anymore. Let me see if I can find it. Mouse. Yeah. Oh, right, it was the thyroid. So it looks like this. Okay, so there would be these like large growths coming out of people's necks. And it's just because the thyroid was super enlarged.
I want to pop it.
I don't think it's fluid filled. I think it's like, I don't know, kind of hard. Ew, are you one of those pimple popper people?
Yeah,
Ugh.
I find it fascinating.
Do you? It's so gross.
When you see a video of somebody like popping a pimple and
Or like a cyst.
Yeah, cyst. Ugh. I can like smell those videos like in my brain.
Ew,
It's
no, I don't
so
like the
disgusting.
smell, but
Yeah. Gross. So those goiters. As we started to move inland and we stopped eating so much fish, then people started to get these goiters. And so then they started putting iodine in salt to help stop that. So it's not uncommon. Has anybody ever seen anybody like that before? No, like in our, wait, did you have your hand raised? Did you have your hand raised? No? Yes?
Hello? There, buddy?
Okay. Are you, so it, let's say, we don't see it very often anymore. And like I said, just like once when I was a kid, I saw somebody with a goiter. But then we had a problem. So people stopped eating regular iodized salt, and they started eating what? Anybody know? It's like, what's the fancy salt?
sea salt.
Like sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, and that doesn't have iodine in it. So people were cutting salt completely out of their diets, iodized salt out of their diets. And then we started to see thyroid problems again, and we started to see goiters again. So they do recommend that you get a little bit of iodine somehow. Those are what we call the trace elements. Those are found in small amounts in your body, but these are the 4 where you have the most. There's my mouse, there it is. Atoms, smallest particle that's made up of each of those elements. Like we said, if you take an atom of hydrogen, actually 2 atoms of hydrogen, and an atom of oxygen, bond them together, we end up with water. And the smallest thing that can act like carbon is a carbon atom. The smallest thing that can act like hydrogen is a hydrogen atom. The smallest thing that acts like oxygen is an oxygen atom. They are all going to be used for, it's not mass break time, I just need to take a drink. They're all going to be used for different things, but that's the smallest thing that they can act like. Atoms are made up of what? What do we call those negative parts of the atom?
Neutron. Oh, no, electrons.
Electrons are negative. What are the neutral?
Protons.
You said it. You said it.
Neutrons?
Neutrons. Right, the neutrons are neutral. And then what do we call the positive ones?
Protons.
Protons. Good. So protons, neutrons, and electrons.
I'll get it.
Neutron walks into a bar. Bartender says, "How much for a beer?" No, I'm sorry. The neutron says, "How much for a beer?" The bartender says, "For you, no charge." Love it. Good. In each atom, so the protons, neutrons, and electrons are all part of the atom. The protons and the neutrons are found in the nucleus. We are not going to watch the video. I have a big problem with Mrs. Cox. Here's my problem with Mrs. Cox. Mrs. Cox likes to show the crash course videos with my boyfriend. I like to call Hank Green my boyfriend, but she likes to call him her boyfriend. And we fight over Hank Green. I know. I'm not going to show this video though, because we are limited on time. When you look at the PowerPoint yourself and you want a little more explanation, you can definitely always watch my boyfriend and he will show more. My boyfriend, Hank Green. He just came out with a new book. I haven't read it.
Is he cute? Is that why you call him your boyfriend?
No, he's not cute. No, and he's fine. He's smart.
He's cute in the brain.
Yeah, he's cute in the brain.
Scientist.
You've watched him. You've watched this dude before. I know you have, because I hear his music coming from her class. Ew, I just sound like
Just
this.
took naps when she played video.
Yeah.
His brother is the one who did the Fault in Our Stars.
KFC is now on DoorDash.
Oh,
Order
sure.
select 30 meals and get 12 extra crispy tenders on us with a $0 delivery fee.
Hello, I'm Hank Green and I want to teach you chemistry.
Oh!
Do not run away screaming. If
Yeah, you know Hank, right? My boyfriend, Hank Green.
Who names your kid Hank?
I think
Like, I would look at my baby and just name him Hank.
Well, I think usually,
Junior.
yeah, Hank Williams Jr. is happening? Yeah. Henry. If somebody's name is Henry, they'll often, as a nickname, call them Hank. Yeah. Mr. Moore's. I don't want to talk about his kids. Yeah, know somebody whose name is Henry and calls him Hank. I don't know.
See how you use it.
Yes, if you need more, go see my boyfriend. He has good videos. I might wait until the end of the chapter to watch his videos though, because he talks a little bit fast and it's kind of a review of everything we learn, but he really does have some good stuff. Looking at the nucleus, in the nucleus there are protons and neutrons, and then the electrons are going to orbit around the outside. The atomic number, so this is what we would see on the periodic table. The number up here is the atomic number, and that is also the number of protons. Let me get my textbook for a second, because I want to look at something. Normally I would have you open up your textbook, and the back of your textbook is a periodic table. You don't have yours today. So the atomic number is the number of protons. The elemental symbol is going to be the symbol of the element, obviously. The carbon is the name. And oftentimes, though, like it'll be carbon and then a C. So that makes sense because carbon starts with a C. Sometimes it's really weird, like looking at sodium, which the atomic number of sodium is 11. Its elemental symbol is Na. Why is it Na? Or iron is Fe. Anybody have any ideas?
So if a lot of them start with the same letter.
It's scientific name.
It's right, so both, we would have a lot that started with the same letters, and it's the scientific name. So sodium is natrium, iron is ferrous. You've heard of a Ferris wheel, right? So Ferris wheel is like a iron wheel. Good, so that is it. Often these match, they don't always match though. Then we look at the atomic weight. The atomic weight is going to be, or it could be the atomic mass number or the average atomic mass. It's the number of protons and the number of neutrons. So, carbon. We're going to look at the number of protons, the number of neutrons, and the number of electrons. Actually, I'm going to do this instead. Maybe. Boyfriend. Okay. So looking at the screen, this is probably easier. Carbon. Let me see. Can the people at home see this? Vaguely. Is it easier if I just point it to over here? Hi. No, you can't see that even more. Okay. We'll go back up here. Thank you for going on a trip with us. Okay, so carbon. I wonder if this works too. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay, the number of carbon, we're looking at how many protons, how many neutrons, and how many electrons. Okay. The atomic number of carbon is 6. So how many protons does it have? The atomic number is the number of protons. 6, right. So the atomic number is 6. It has 6 protons.
You said it like 3 times.
Maybe. There we go. The mass number of carbon is 12. Okay, so we know that the atomic number, or the number of neutrons, I'm sorry, I was wrong. My brain's not thinking yet. The atomic mass is equal to the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. Okay, so the atomic mass of carbon is 12. And we said it has 6 protons, so we solve for n. How many protons, how many neutrons does carbon have? 6. electrons does it have? Anybody know? Is there a charge on carbon? Do I have anything up here? Is there a positive or a negative up here? No. So it's equal, right? So it should have an equal number of protons and electrons.
6.
So it would have 6. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
6, 6,
6 and 6. If they even each other out. 6 positive, 6 negative, they even each other out. Here's my question. What if I had a negative up here? And it would look like it was like a -1, but we just write a negative. So now do I have more protons or more electrons? More electrons. So how many electrons would I have? 7 electrons. What if I had -2 here?
8.
I would have 8 electrons. Good. Now, I just made it look like an 8. So here's another question. If I have a positive there, if I have a plus, now what's going to happen?
Protons are gonna get more.
What happens if I change my number of protons?
It's not the same.
It is not the same element. So if I have 6 protons, I know that it's carbon. If I have 7 protons, it turns into nitrogen. Can you see that on there? Yeah, you can maybe see that. Is that backwards? I don't know how to tell. Okay, it is, changes it. So what do I have to change so that I have 6 can't change, 6 protons can't change? What do I have to change?
Electrons.
The electrons. And what would I have to do to the electrons? Subtract 1, right? So now I would have 5 electrons. Okay, that's what that means. I would have 5 electrons, so I have 1 more proton than I do electron. What if I have +2? Now what do I have to do?
4 electrons.
4 electrons. Any questions on that? You are not going to have to do that on your test. You will not have to do that on your keystone. When you get to Mr. Georgie's chemistry class, you will be doing some of that stuff. But for this class, you don't have to do that, but we will see things. For example, we're going to look at a thing called NADP+, which is a type of energy. And you would just need to understand that that positive means that it's going to have 1 less electron. Any questions on this so far? Whoa, it's a laser pointer. Okay. Different atoms have different numbers of neutrons. And here's probably about where we're going to end. Oh, mass break. Thank heavens. So when we're looking at atoms that have the same number of protons but different number of neutrons, we call those isotopes. So for example, carbon comes in a bunch of different forms. It comes in the carbon that we looked at, where you have 6 carbons, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. Here's what I'm going to try right now. Beep, we're going to move over. Moving. Woo, there we go. But we can call that carbon 6. We can also, or carbon 12. We also have carbon 13, and that is referring to its mass. So how, let's see if I can do this without, maneuver around. There we go. Okay. That is referring to its mass number. Okay, question. How many protons does carbon 13 have? 6, because that doesn't change. How many electrons does carbon 13 have? 6. We didn't change the charge. How many neutrons does carbon 13 have if 13 is its average atomic mass? 7. Carbon 14. Carbon 14, you have a lot in your body. You have it in your body and then it starts to decompose as you die. It degrades. How many protons does carbon 14 have? 6. How many electrons?
6.
How many neutrons?
8.
8. Okay, so that average atomic mass that we were looking at, it's taking all of the different isotopes of all of the different forms of the elements and then combining them together. That's why we have the 0.01 there, so 12.01 or whatever it is. That's where that comes into play. Any questions? Okay, B group, I'll see you in school tomorrow and we will finish this. Have a great day.